Michigan football coach Greg Scruggs has been suspended infinitely after an OWI arrest. Greg Scruggs was hired on March 6th to be the defensive line coach. That is accurate. At Michigan. On March 16th, he was arrested for an OWI and suspended indefinitely. He was the defensive line coach at Wisconsin last year, and in 22 was the defensive line coach for the New York Jets. All hail the New York
Jets. All hail. No, wait, that's the Giants.
I know. That's why I paused.
Oh, all right.
Jets.
Giants. Whatever.
So let's see. Here's what Sharon Moore said. That Greg made an unfortunate mistake and was arrested for operating a vehicle while intoxicated. That's what OWI stands for. He made no excuse and has taken accountability for his actions. The football program and athletic department have suspended Greg indefinitely while we review the details of the incident. According to James Yoder, this is his third offense. Now, I did look it up. I know for sure that he had an offense in 2011.
Yeah.
When he was a senior playing for Louisville, he was arrested for a DUI where he actually veered off the road and ran over a light pole, and he was dismissed from the team just before their bowl game against NC State. I didn't see this, but James Yoder says that he was also picked up in 2013 while playing for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And this was pled down from DUI to reckless driving. I don't know how they did that necessarily, unless maybe he just didn't hurt anybody or wreck the car or anything. But at any rate, that's what happened there. So one of the things I had to look up was what exactly an OWI is.
Yeah.
So before we get into the question, my question to you is who is replacing him? But while you're thinking about that, an OWI is actually an expansion of the DUI law. So a DUI, driving under the influence, to be arrested for a DUI, the vehicle you were arrested in, in order to be arrested for a DUI, the vehicle you were in had to be moving. So you were operating the vehicle, driving while under the influence. Now under the OWI, which is operating while intoxicated, in Michigan, you can be arrested for sleeping in a car while drunk. So let's say you go to the bar, and I don't recommend this. I don't recommend getting drunk at all, and certainly not drinking and driving.
Yeah, just drinking and live streaming.
Just drinking. Well, yeah. But what this law is saying now, and this is going to get off topic here, but what this is saying is that let's say you come out of the bar and you realize you're not able to drive. You recognize your incapacity. So you go out to your car in the parking lot, climb in the back seat, and take a nap. You can now be arrested for that.
Well, is it the back seat or was he in the driver's seat? Because I know if you're
no matter what, let's say you get in the car, you don't put the keys in the ignition, you're just sitting there, you put the seat back and take a nap, you can still be arrested.
If you're in the front seat, though.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I already think that, well, okay, so I guess I understand if it's in the front seat, then like the officer might think that you were driving there. And especially if the keys are in the ignition or something like that, then the officer might think that you drove there. And so he'll hit you with something. If you're in the back seat,
okay,
though, I don't know. I mean, to me, that's like, the guy, the guy knew he was drunk. And so he got into the car in the back seat or something. And, but I meeen, yeah, Connor Stallions lives in Ohio State's fans' head. You got a really long name. He's absolutely right. I mean, Greg Scruggs isn't hemorrhaging money. He could have called an Uber cab, a buddy to take him home. He was just not smart. Yeah. I mean, at this point, there's just no excuse. Although I do think it's kind of like one of those things like, oh man, maybe I feel a little crummy. I'll just hop in the back seat for a minute, just kind of sleep it off, whatever. And then you get hit with an OWI. That kind of sucks. But at the same time, how is the cop to know that you didn't drive there and then get into the back seat? So this might be something that is honestly moderately innocent, but also just kind of dumb. I mean, best case scenario is that it is kind of dumb.
Well, and I mean, in this particular case with Greg Scruggs, I guess I'm talking in general, but in this particular case with Greg Scruggs, he's definitely got a history.
Oh yeah.
So
Mhm.
there's definitely a problem there. I mean, he's only he's 33 years old. This is his third DUI, OWI.
Yeah.
There's a problem there. Uh, what and I guess that's we don't really know exactly what happened. I mean, I'm looking in the even in the article on the Detroit Free Press, they don't really know exactly what he did.
Mhm.
But yeah, actually, I take your point there, and I didn't really even think about that. That if the cops don't know how if you maybe were drunk when you got there, and so
Yeah.
you drove there drunk and that, so that makes sense. And certainly, to some extent, I would say that if you can stop more drunk driving incidents, that's a good thing because it seems like whenever you're drinking and driving and you get into an accident, it's the other people that get hurt or killed.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to stopping that. I just the
Obviously.
law, the way it sounded, it was like maybe you are being responsible at some point and saying, oh, I'm going to sleep this off, and you could still get arrested for that. But it's actually it's a good example too because it's just like refereeing. You can't ref intent.
Right.
You can only ref what happened and what you saw. So all right,
Yeah.
I stand corrected. But yeah,
Well, and also, like, stop drinking an hour before the bar closes. Get yourself a water. You can still chill and watch sports or hang out with your buddies or something like that and dry out and then go home.
yeah.
It's pretty easy, guys. Like, I went to college for 8 years. I had plenty of beer. I never once drove drunk. So, it's not that difficult.
It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
Hey, and no matter what, this is his fault. This is on him.
Yeah.
And if he gets fired, he's only got himself to blame.
Yes. But also at the same time, hopefully on a human level, he wasn't ever driving the car and he
Mhm.
was just in the back seat thinking, I'll just sleep it off real quick.
Now, okay, did you happen to find out? Because I could have sworn I saw this past week of who was going to fill in for Greg Scruggs, but then I went back to try to find it and couldn't find it.
I haven't seen anything. I mean, my guess would be that they would just have Wink Martindale step in. They've been super tight-lipped about this.
Yeah.
Aside from, suspending him immediately and indefinitely, which was a good move.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, the WXYZ news out of Detroit filed a Freedom of Information Act request with Michigan to find out more information. And so far, nobody
Okay.
knows anything. I mean, so far, it hasn't hurt anything in terms of transfers, in terms of recruiting. I don't think that it's been long enough to actually have an effect on any of that just yet.
Mhm.
But I haven't seen anything in terms of a replacement or an interim or anything like that. Sam Hartman's looking downfield for AJ.
Oh! Carter almost has a one-handed catch.
Almost.